I was getting nervous.
Hello there.
Hi.
Hello.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, what's going on here? So here we go. There I am.
I was getting nervous too. I was wondering if it was just me.
I know. I was like, I looked at my phone. I'm like, oh boy. I don't know what I'm gonna...
Didn't we just do this a week ago?
No, it seems like it.
It doesn't seem that long ago, was it? It was last Tuesday, wasn't it?
Hey, Chuck.
This is not
Good
the only
evening,
meeting
Mayor.
I do Zoom on. It seems like
And
this
everyone
is
else?
how things are now.
I guess. Dan, you look like you
Yeah.
haven't left that seat. Look like it did this last
This
week.
regular seat.
Oh,
I want to be where Eric
No,
is.
you
Look
go to
where
the
Eric is
office.
right now. Oh, no,
Sorry.
now, no, I want to be where Eric is. He's in Chambers.
Nah, went back to professional. That was Scannaville Island before. So,
Hey, Steven.
Hello.
Hey, Jared.
Go to the meeting.
No, I don't want to come to the meeting. Have a good time.
My
Yeah.
wife said hi.
weird.
I cannot figure out how to change my background in this.
And the phone call there is Jim.
Hey, Jeff.
Hello.
Hey, Jim.
Hi, Jim.
How are
Hi,
you?
Jim.
Good evening.
It's kind of like the Brady's Bunch.
Yeah. Gotta look up, everybody.
Yeah.
Do we all know the song?
Hope and Katie for joining us and for the video on. I gotta do the stop video or the start video. Otherwise, we can
They
stay
didn't
as
have
is.
to do, we indicated they didn't need to do video if they didn't want to tonight, to try to move away from having all staff on the screen.
Okay.
Hope it looks like you're in Hawaii.
That would be nice.
I like your background.
Do you know where it is, Hope?
No, I just picked a background, so
That maybe France or Italy?
somewhere
It's
somewhere
pretty.
exotic, not in
Not
this
on
country.
Alaska. Come on now. Why don't you have an Alaska background?
Mhm.
Yeah, we could. There's some pretty scenes.
There are some pretty, yeah,
You have to work on that.
I know. Most of the pictures I have people in it.
Mayor, I think we have everyone here we need to.
Okay. All right, then. I will call to order the April 21st meeting of the Onalaska Common Council. This is our organizational meeting, and the notices were mailed and posted on 4/16/20. The next item of business is roll call. Carrie, could you do the roll for us?
Sure. Mayor Kim Smith,
Here.
Tom Smith,
Here.
Dan Stevens,
Present.
Stephen Knott,
Present.
Jim Olson,
Here.
Diane Wolf.
Here.
Thank you. The next item, number 2, Pledge Allegiance. If you'll join me. I have a flag. I don't know if you guys do or not, but I pledge allegiance to the flag,
Right.
of the United States of
Of
America,
America.
to
and
the republic,
Republic
for which it stands, one nation,
One nation.
under
Under
God,
God.
God.
Indivisible.
liberty and justice.
And justice for all.
I felt like I was really reading it that time, leading. Okay, the next item is item 3, the rules of the city of Onalaska. Okay, the rules of the City of Onalaska Common Council and Subcommittees Harassment-Free Forum. City council and subcommittee meetings shall be conducted in a courteous manner. Citizens, council, and committee members shall be allowed to state their positions in an atmosphere free of slander, insults, obscene remarks, threats of violence, or for use of council or committee as a forum for politics. Sufficient warnings may be given by the sergeant at arms at any time during the remarks, and in the event that any individual shall violate the rules of decorum heretofore set forth, such person may then be cut off from comment or debate. And that will lead us up until item 4, approval of the minutes from the previous meeting.
So moved.
Who was that? Who made the motion?
Jim did.
Jim.
Jim Olson made the, who seconded it?
Steve.
Steve Knott, okay. Motion by Alderperson Jim Olson, seconded by Alderperson Stephen Knott to approve the minutes from the previous meeting. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Item 5 is public input. If there is any public attending that would like to give input, please start by stating your name and address and limit your comments to 3 minutes. Do we have anybody on the line? Second call, if anyone would like to speak during public input. Third and final call, if anyone would like to speak during public input. Not hearing anyone?
Yes, this is Leanne Stokes.
Oh, sure. Thank you. I'm so glad you were able to join us.
Yes, thank you.
Go ahead.
Good evening. My name is Leanne Stokes. I live at 324 14th Avenue North, Onalaska, Wisconsin, 54650. I'm attending your Zoom council meeting this evening to ask that you consider naming Jack Pogria to the vacant alderperson's seat in the 3rd District in Onalaska. He is the candidate who was on the ballot in the spring election. He received 749 votes and was extremely close to the vote tally of Kim Smith, who won the seat with 776. Since Kim won the mayoral race, this seat is now vacant. I do not have a vested interest in this race, as I do not live in the 3rd District, and I have never met this gentleman. What I do think is very important for you to consider in your decision is that he received 749 votes, while Kim Smith received the 776, a difference of only 27 votes, or 0.0176 percentage points. I know the normal process in a vacancy is to have the interested party fill out an application and go through the interview with the Common Council. However, I believe that Mr. Pogriba has in essence already completed these steps. He filled out his paperwork to be a candidate for this seat, got the required amount of signatures, which I believe would be like his application. He was vetted by the voters during the campaign process, which I believe was like his interview. The people who voted in this spring election did so with a great amount of effort on their part, either by voting absentee, doing early voting, or voting on the day of the election, all while there was a pandemic going on. I believe that these voters should have the last say in this decision. I thank you for your thoughtful consideration of this request. Thank you.
And thank you so much for overcoming the hurdles to be here for public input tonight. We appreciate that. Is there anyone else?
I thank Carrie for all of her assistance in giving me the information that I needed.
Yeah, she's an excellent clerk. We appreciate her.
Yes. Okay, I'm just going to hang up now, but I do appreciate you giving me the opportunity to talk to you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Is there anyone
Bye-bye.
else? Is there anyone else on the line that would like to address the commission, the city council? Anyone else on the line? Last chance, if anybody would like to address the Onalaska Common Council tonight. Okay, not hearing anyone else, we'll continue then with the report from the mayor, but there's nothing listed. So then I'll go to item 6, Common Council vacancy. Amanda.
Yeah, so we just wanted to essentially acknowledge that there is a vacancy created by your taking the position of mayor. We are looking at having a special meeting next week on either Tuesday or Thursday to get into kind of the nitty-gritty of what to do with that vacancy. And so if you have any preference as to Thursday night or Tuesday night of next week, please let Carrie or myself know.
Okay, so in a sense, I have accepted the mayor position, and so then that does officially leave the third district person empty. So the council will need to consider that, and we will not be discussing that tonight, but we will.
We'll discuss it at length at a meeting next week, just because we don't have it noticed with the timing of everything for an action item tonight, but we did want to acknowledge it. And so we'll have a meeting next week where we'll get into kind of the 3 options that likely will be available.
Are we expected to decide on one of the 3 options next week?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, thank you for that. And then moving on to item 7, recognition of the public service by the standing boards and committees. I just wanted to this is our reorganization meeting, so I just wanted to take time out to thank all of the citizens that do serve on the boards. This is the primary way that we get input from the community for planned things. Besides, obviously, people call their alder people, their city staff, and the mayor if they have a specific issue come up. But in terms of planning and doing the business of the city, we do have a lot of citizens, and we appreciate their service. Many of them who have been serving on committees already have agreed to continue, and I'm bringing their names forward. We've just had a few people that have had to leave their positions for one reason or another, but we do appreciate their service, whether they're leaving or if they're continuing on, or the new ones. It's not too bad of a time commitment, but it is a commitment, and everyone's life is busy. So I just wanted to take time out and say thank you to them. Item 8 is the oath of office for newly elected officials. And for this, I was going to have Carrie do a little statement.
I just wanted to let everyone know that we did give the oath of office to all of our newly elected officials yesterday, and I just think it would be nice for the public to see their faces. So the first person that we swore in was Mayor Kim Smith.
Yep, thank you very much. I appreciate your support, and I'm glad to be your mayor.
And the next person that was sworn in is Jim Olson. And Jim, we can't see your face, but if you want to make a statement.
Yes, Carrie, thank you very much. I'm deeply honored to be elected again, and I want to thank everybody from the first ward. And thank you.
And then the last person that was sworn in yesterday was Alderperson Diane Wolf.
Thank you, Carrie. I just want to thank again the second district voters, appreciate their faith, trust, and confidence they placed in me. Looking very forward to working with my fellow electeds and also staff for my next 2-year term. Thank you very much. And congratulations again, Mayor. It was sad that we couldn't hug you yesterday, or at least your hand like we typically do every swearing in, but that'll come soon.
Yes, and congratulations to you and Jim as well. Look forward to having our 6th and final seat filled sometime in the upcoming future.
Yes.
With that being said, we'll continue on then with consideration and possible action on the following items. The first item of business is item 9, election of the council president. So at this time, I would like to open the floor for nominations for council president. Before we do that, 1 second. Before I do that, maybe I'll turn to Amanda to describe the policy that we used last year. Is it that we're going to take a nomination, take a second, and then vote on it? And then either it passes or it fails, and then we go to the next one? Or is it up to the pleasure of the committee?
I would recommend the policy that you just outlined.
Okay. Are all the council members in understanding of what I just described?
Yeah.
So if somebody wants to nominate someone, another person will need to second it, and then the council will vote on it. If it passes, we'll continue on. If it fails, then we'll open for the nomination of a different person. Is that understood? Okay, then I open the floor for nominations for council president. Dan Stevens?
All right, because I don't want to be the council president, I'm going to nominate Diane Wolf.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a nomination by Dan Stevens, seconded by Stephen Knott, to elect Diane Wolf as council president. Do we need a roll call vote, or can we do a unanimous vote? Let's do it by roll call vote, just to be, so there's no confusion. So the vote will be by roll. Please answer as your name is called.
Okay, Dan Stevens,
Aye.
Stephen Knott,
Aye.
Tom Smith,
Aye.
Jim Olson,
Abstain.
Diane Wolf.
And I will abstain.
Okay, so that would be 3-0, which is enough to carry the motion unanimously. Congratulations, Diane, you are the council president.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor.
Item 10, appointments of the city staff. This is something, I'll turn it over to Amanda to describe. I know we haven't done this previously, but this is a new thing that we're starting to do now. I think we probably should have been doing it previously, but I'll let Amanda describe that.
Yeah, as Mayor Kim alluded, our ordinance do require that certain city staff that are also considered city officers, many of which have the ability to issue citations or direct citations to be issued within their department and have other statutory roles such as the clerk, treasurer, city attorney's office, as listed in the agenda, are supposed to be appointed upon their hire. We don't have a good record of whether or not that's been entirely done, and so this is just kind of one of those catch-up things where we're just going to go on record and reappoint everybody to their roles, just so we have a good record of it.
Thank you, Amanda. So I feel that we should be able to handle these all as one item, appointments of city staff, items A through K. If someone would like to make a motion to do so.
Diane Wolf, I will make a motion to approve agenda item number 10, appointment of city staff, items A through K.
I will
Tom
second.
Smith, I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor by Diane Wolf, and that was seconded by Steve Knott. Sorry, Tom, you were just a little behind on that.
Okay.
And I'll just quick read it into the record so that we have clarity. So the item 10, appointment of city staff. A, city clerk, Carolyn Burmaster. B, deputy finance director, deputy treasurer, Kim Eisensee. C, city attorney, Amanda Jackson. D, city assessor, Accurate Appraisal, LLC. E, city administrator, Eric Reinflesch. F, director of inspections, Katie Aspenson. G, public works director, city engineer, Jared Holter. E, weed commissioner, Katie Aspenson. I, financial service director, treasurer, Fred Bueller. J, parks and recreation director, Dan Wick. And K, zoning administrator, Katie Aspenson. The motion to approve was by Diane Wolf, and the second was by Stephen Knott. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Item 11 is appointments to the standing committees, boards, commissions, and other committees. This is item 11, and there was an attachment in your agenda outlining those, and you also should have received them by email. I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion. This is Tom, to approve the 2020 committee board commission appointments as attached 11.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor by Tom. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Jim Olson. Okay, so the motion on the floor is to approve made by Tom Smith, seconded by Jim Olson, and then now for discussion. Stephen Knott.
Just one item to clarify. So I see that I am also an interim on the Parks and Rec. Is the intent of that position will be filled with the other third district alderperson if and whenever we fill that vacancy?
That was the intent, yes.
Okay.
I was trying to, I thought it would be easier to just do it on the front end. Since we knew we had the vacancy, I don't know when or if we'll have a person. That is up to the council. But I thought at least I would start out with someone in the position, and then if we do get a third person, when we get a third district person, they would have a spot, and it would be easier to manage in the meantime. So that was my thinking.
I have no problem with it. I just didn't want to assume. So thank you.
Anyone else? Dan Stevens.
Thank you, Your Honor. I noticed with the attachment there was we had one resume, and we had several new people coming onto committees, which is great. I was just wondering, there's two people that did not have, I don't know if they need a full resume, but maybe a bio or some more information on who they are.
Yep,
I think that was the policy we had established last year when former Mayor Chilson was there. Could you maybe speak to that, or will we have information forthcoming?
Sure. The person, I'm not sure of the correct pronunciation, but the name is Gargi for the zoning appeals, had submitted that when I became aware that she was interested in it. So I had that readily available. And that was part of the reason when I emailed out her resume to the council members and then mentioned the other two people, I was hoping that if somebody, I did not readily have that information available, and I was hoping if that was going to be a request of the council that someone would have made me aware of that, which nobody did. But I mean, if you want to withhold appointment of those people until you see that information or have some kind of thing, I'm sure that I can get that. I just was not able to get it in this timeline.
Yeah, this is Steve Knott. Dan brings up a good point. We're meeting again next week anyway. Maybe we make that an agenda and see if we can get bios on folks as well.
Okay, then just give me make a amendment then to remove whatever names you'd like off of the attachment, and we can address it at our next meeting. That's no problem.
Okay, so we would be approving people who do have information then and not approving folks who don't.
So, there's only two new people on this list, besides the one I gave you a resume for. The other people that have not previously served, all of them are reappointments, except for 3 people. Okay, so, I mean, normally we wouldn't, if someone's just getting reappointed, we don't put them through the same process, but there's only 2 people who this conversation would encompass, and I can get that by next week.
I can make an amendment. I just would like to make clear I'm in no way, shape, or form suggesting that the people are not qualified. I think that we had set a precedent in the past, and if we are going to have people submit information, bio, resume, whatever, we should be consistent and do that with everybody. So I'm actually, I know who Peg Benash is. She used to work with my wife, but still, I think the rules should apply to everyone equally. So I would be very surprised if I did not support both people. I think we can wait a week and then approve them after they've submitted some sort of information as other people have. So I'm going to move that we remove Sam Cinta from the Long Range Planning Committee and Peg Benash from the Room Tax Committee, and refer that to next week's meeting. Would that be phrased correctly, or do I need to just move them outright?
I think that's fine.
All right, so, and otherwise approve the committee, board, commission appointments as presented.
Right, so right now we're just having the amendment though. So Dan Stevens has made an amendment to remove 2 names from the list of appointments and defer them to the next meeting. The 2 names are Peg Banash and Sam Sinta. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, so the motion is by Dan Stevens, seconded by Stephen Knott to remove those 2 names and defer them to the next meeting. And then just under discussion, and I'm totally fine with it, it's no problem. But you say the rule, and is it a rule? It was a practice that happened once. So to me, that wasn't a rule. I have no problem with doing it. It's just a matter of knowing that that was required. Stephen Knott.
Yeah, so, yeah, I think it's a good standard and a good practice, whether it's a rule or not. Certainly in most cases, when a name is submitted for a citizen who wants to volunteer to serve on one of the committees, most of us, if not all of us, may not know who that individual even is. I think it's a good practice to at least have a bio. I don't think that any of us are expecting, a professional resume, reviewed by somebody else. Just something to at least tell us about who they are and what the background is, that's all.
Sure, and I mean, that's fine. I would have said the same thing myself, no problem. Okay, are we ready for the vote? This is just on the amendment now. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those
Aye.
opposed say no. Motion carries unanimously. The amendment is passed. So back to the original motion, which is to approve the committees with the understanding that 2 names are removed. Diane.
Thank you, Your Honor. And this is just a very ticky-tacky thing under Board of Zoning Appeals. Per our ordinances, you do need to denote the chair and first alternate. I see that you have in order, but I just want to
Yes.
make it legit so so staff doesn't come back next month and say, well, it really wasn't in part of the motion. So I think your intent was that I would chair and that Tom
Yes.
Smith would be the first alternate. So I just wanted to just
Yes,
clear up any details.
and that
So
is
my
a
motion
type.
my amendment would be to have Diane chair and to note that Tom Smith would be the first alternate on Board of Zoning Appeals.
Okay, we have another amendment by Diane Wolf to clarify that Diane Wolf would be the chair of the Board of Zoning Appeals and Tom Smith would be the first alternate. Is there a second on that amendment?
I'll second that, Tom.
Okay, motion by Diane, seconded by Tom. Is there any other discussion on that? Okay, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed,
Aye.
say no. Sorry, I was too fast. Okay, that motion carries unanimously. Diane.
Thank you, Your Honor. And I just want to state for the record that, these are very challenging times that we are working within right now. And I just certainly want to commend Mayor Kim Smith for the quick turnaround that she has provided this council with committee, board, and commission appointments. For many years, council seems to have struggled to receive these in a timely fashion. And it was unfortunate that her time to produce this was cut in half even. So a tremendous amount of work had to be accomplished in a very short period of time. So thank you very much for getting us to this point where we are almost complete, because there have been times when it's taken 2-3 months to get to this point. So thank you for your hard work on this. Very much appreciate it.
You're welcome, no problem. Any other discussion? Okay, so we have the motion at hand to approve the attachment number 11 with the changes of removing the 2 names until our next meeting, and also noting that Diane Wolf would be the chair and Tom Smith the first chair of zoning appeals. Any other discussion? Okay, I don't see anyone, so therefore all those in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed, please say no. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Item 12 is Resolution 21-2020. Item 12 on the agenda. I think I've been, since we're not doing it in person. I've been trying to read most of these into the minutes. I think I'll just go ahead and do that quick. It shouldn't take too long. Resolution 20-2020 to the Honorable Mayor and Council members, Onalaska, Wisconsin, whereas the Common Council of the City of Onalaska, Wisconsin has designated the following bank, investment pools, credit unions as public depositories for all public monies earmarked for the city general fund, checking and saving accounts coming into the hands of the current and/or any successor to the city treasurer. The institutions are BMO Harris Bank, Riverbank La Crosse, Associated Wealth Management Green Bay, Cooley Bank of La Crosse, State Bank Financial of La Crosse, Onalaska, Wells Fargo Bank of La Crosse, Onalaska, Trust Point Incorporated La Crosse, Verba Credit Union of La Crosse, Onalaska, Associated Bank La Crosse, State of Wisconsin Local Government Investment Pool, Merchant Bank National Association, U.S. Bank La Crosse, Onalaska, Bremer Bank, or any other bank that is deemed advantageous to the City of Onalaska as well. And whereas the City Council of the City of Onalaska, Wisconsin has designated the following investment pool as a public depository for all public monies coming into the hands of the current and/or any successor to the city treasurer, the State of Wisconsin Local Government Investment Pool, or any other investment pool that is deemed advantageous to the City of Onalaska, Wisconsin as well. And whereas the Common Council of the City of Onalaska, Wisconsin has designated the following credit unions as public depositories for all public monies coming into the hands of the current and/or successor to the city's treasurer, Verb, a credit union, La Crosse, Onalaska, or any other credit union that is deemed advantageous to the City of Onalaska as well. And whereas the Common Council has granted the city treasurer authority to use the depositories interchangeably as he deems most advantageous to the city. Now therefore be it resolved by the Common Council of the City of Onalaska that funds shall be drawn by check only upon the signature of the mayor and/or the president of the Common Council and the city clerk countersigning, except that the city treasurer be authorized to make draws for investments of funds not immediately needed. And be it further resolved that with regard to such deposits and/or investments of such funds, the city treasurer shall take into consideration the following factors. 1, the safety and security of the investment or deposit shall be paramount. 2, the interest rate and other terms offered. 3, the capacity of the depository to handle the size of the deposit or investment. 4, the amount of the existing city funds which are already in the depository. And be it further resolved that the city clerk be and is hereby directed to certify such banks, state investment pool and credit unions, the proper authentic signature of said mayor, president of the council, city clerk, city treasurer, under the seal of the city, dated the 21st of April, 2020. So that is resolution 21-2020. Would someone like to make a motion regarding that?
I'll make a motion that we approve Resolution 21-20 on public depositories.
Second.
Second.
Thank you, Stephen. Seconded by Diane Wolf to approve resolution 21-2020. Is there any discussion? That's Dan?
Does this represent a change of our primary banking? Because I think we went through this process last year, or is this a separate activity? Because I believe we switched to, was it Bremer Bank last year? And now Verve is going to be the depository, or this is an additional depository?
Okay, who wants to answer that?
Fred is here.
Okay, Fred
I'll let
can
Fred
answer.
first.
Fred will answer it.
It has absolutely no bearing. Bremer Bank is the official bank. This is only banks that it gives the opportunity for the city to explore if necessary.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so we have a motion on the floor to approve. Is there any other discussion? I'm not seeing any other discussion, so please answer when your name is called. Isn't it normally, am I mixed up?
We don't have to do a roll call on there, but we can if you would like.
No, that's okay.
Okay.
I just was jumping off the handle, I guess. All right, so then we're just gonna do a regular vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed, say no. Okay, motion carries unanimously. Item 13 is Resolution 22-2020 concerning increasing the Common Council expenses. Item 13 on the agenda. Resolution 22-2020, whereas a novel strain of the coronavirus named COVID-19 is spread throughout numerous countries, including the United States, and whereas the World Health Organization has declared a public health emergency of international concern. And whereas the United States Department of Health and Human Services has declared a public health emergency, and whereas the state of Wisconsin and city of Onalaska have declared a public health emergency, and whereas the Common Council and the Mayor of Onalaska, like many Onalaska citizen employees, are teleworking and are adapting to work under new and different conditions in order to still efficiently and effectively serve the citizens of the city of Onalaska. And whereas due to the closure of City Hall and the need to perform their work in new and different ways, there are new expenses associated with teleworking that elected officials are facing, included but not limited to the additional or increased Wi-Fi, microphones, webcams, data, paper, and printing costs. Now therefore be resolved that due to the current circumstances, the city of Onalaska shall increase the expense reimbursement provided to the mayor and council members by an additional $100 a month, effective May 1st, 2020 through December 31st, 2020. That is resolution 22-2020. Entertain a motion.
All right, I'll make the motion.
A motion by Dan Stevens. Is there a second?
I will second that.
Motion by Dan Stevens, seconded by Diane Wolf to approve resolution 22-2020. Okay, discussion. I'll go with Eric first.
If the question about the budget arises, this is a amount that would be covered within the actions taken by the council in the previous budget.
Thank you, Eric. Stephen?
So am I to understand then that this is an increase of $100 to our monthly stipend that we already receive until December, or through December, I guess?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, so I do have some concerns. That amounts to $800. I don't know that the increase of any cost associated with telework for us actually approaches that figure. What I guess I would have more comfort with, and I might be willing to make a amendment motion to, would be that if there are expenses that people have incurred in order to conduct Zoom meetings or whatever it is we're doing here, such as having to purchase a camera or some microphones, or some speakers or something like that, they would submit that for reimbursement. But even that has certain perception issues that are potential here, because I know you can buy a camera for your computer for $35, $40, or you can buy a camera for $400. So I'm very concerned on how this could be perceived, especially since we're in a situation right now when so many of our citizens are not even receiving an income or are receiving a reduced income. And I'm very uncomfortable about basically approving a $100 a month increase for 8 months.
Thank you, Stephen. Amanda?
Just a couple of things. One, the city has historically stayed away from reimbursing expenses. That was done in prior years, but it puts the finance department and the city in the uncomfortable position of trying to determine what expenses are appropriate for reimbursement and what are not. And so we've taken the approach of just giving a lump sum amount for what are considered appropriate expenses. We did designate it through December 31st of 2020. Obviously, if the current environment changes and the council felt that this was not needed in the future, they could request an amendment to this, and they could essentially undo it at any time at the council's will.
Dan Stevens?
Thank you, Your Honor. I guess I'm a little confused because I believe that this was an item that was prior to coronavirus. I think Eric mentioned in the budget last year that we had approved an increase to $500. which was commensurate and below what some of the peer councils or governmental bodies receive. I know that the county supervisors in La Crosse County went up to like $700 or $800, and La Crosse Common Council, I believe they're at $575. And I believe we've had discussion and approved that the total remuneration per alder should have been up to $500 in this budget cycle. So I'm a little surprised that we see this here. I believe I went on record kind of in detail, and because it's my thing, my motion died for lack of a second, that I had preferred, to Stephen's point, that I think the amount of money that's expenses versus salary seems like we're splitting hairs. And in the interest of transparency, it should just all be salary. And I don't know if this is the time to break that out. But I also had mentioned that I'm aware that the council president does have some extra duties and responsibilities. And I also made a motion that there should be some sort of elevated level of $25, $50, $100 a month, as other bodies tend to do. So while that didn't pass for lack of a second, I think that's something that we could discuss and possibly have I might be willing to bring an amendment up on that again. But circling back to my original point, I thought this was already policy that this was decided upon prior to coronavirus.
Okay, first I think we should go to Amanda to talk about salary versus expenses and the alderperson's wage.
So there's two categories. There's salary and there's expenses. And expenses have to be justifiable. So we do have to be able to break out what it is that we're giving you reimbursement for expenses for, which is why the resolution acknowledges that we anticipate that you would be using it for the increased Wi-Fi, microphones, webcams, etc. Salary, we can only change outside of somebody's term. And so we can't adjust your salary as a result of a pandemic or kind of without adjusting it for the term moving forward. And so the salary was budgeted for, but we didn't do the secondary step of that, of approving the salary increase, and so it didn't go into effect. It also would have only affected half of the council and not the full council. And so we are looking at fixing that as we rewrite the ordinances for Title II, which that is being worked on right now. But the budgeted salaries increases for half of the council did not go through.
All right, so based on that, if I may, I would like to make an amendment. The final paragraph of the resolution, I'm going to suggest that we amend where it read, now therefore be it resolved that due to the current circumstances, the city of Onalaska shall increase the expense reimbursement provided to the mayor and council members by an additional $100 a month and an additional $50 a month to the council president effective May 1st, 2020 through December 31st, 2020.
Okay, we have a motion to amend by Dan Stevens, and the motion to amend includes adding $50 a month additional for the council president to resolution 22-2020. Is there a second? Okay, that motion dies for a lack of a second. That was a motion to amend. We still have the motion concerning the resolution on the floor. So does anyone have any discussion or comments? Stephen Knott.
Yeah, so I did hear, Amanda's concern reference, going down the path of the city reimbursing expenses, but this is kind of a once, hopefully a once in a blue moon, once in a decade or longer type of an event. And it would only be a couple of items that are listed here, so that people can participate in these Zoom meetings. And in fact, you actually don't even need that. As long as you got a cell phone service, you can call in, as we've already seen from several individuals. So I just, again, personally, I have a hard time justifying it based on the explanation that was given, and also because of the timing of it right now. I don't think that we should be talking personally about any increase at all until people are back to work in our districts.
Thank you, Stephen. Would anyone else like to comment? Okay, not hearing any. I think let's do a roll call vote. The motion on the floor is resolution 20 to approve resolution 22-2020. Please answer as your name is called.
Dan Stevens,
Aye.
Stephen Knott,
Nay.
Jim Olson,
No.
Tom Smith,
Aye.
Diane Wolf.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries 3-2. Thank you. Okay, item number 14 is adjournment.
Motion to adjourn.
Okay, motion by Diane Wolf,
Second by Tom.
second by Tom Smith. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed, say no. We are adjourned. The time is 7:47. Thank you all for joining.
Thank you.
Thank you, and congratulations to everybody who just got sworn in the last day or so as well.
Thank you,
you.
Stephen.
Thanks, Eric.
Good to see everyone.
You too.
Maybe we'll